My husband and I went to bed at the same time last night. And at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and he wasn't laying next to me. And I sat up in bed and looked over at the bathroom and the light wasn't on, so he wasn't in there. So I got up, put on my robe, and then walked down the stairs to our kitchen. And he was in the kitchen, sitting at the table, drinking a cup of coffee. And he looked really upset. I said, honey, what's wrong? What happened? Are you sick? He looked up at me and he goes, it's the 20th anniversary of the day we met. And I looked at the calendar on our fridge and he was right. We had met 20 years ago. I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe you remembered that. He said, do you remember the time that your dad caught us in the back seat of my truck? I said, yeah, I actually do remember that. And he said, do you remember when he came to me with a psh, psh, and said, you either marry my daughter or I'm going to make sure you go to prison for the next 20 years? I said, yeah, I remember that too. My husband said, I would have gotten out today.
20 years later, he realized he made the wrong choice.
It's been 30 minutes. I tried to call him. I tried to text him. I haven't gotten an answer. So I don't really know what to do. Hey.
Hey.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're at the playground right now. Why, what's up?
So I got stood up.
Jeez.
And he kind of said something that really kind of just me up. And I really just kind of want my kids. If maybe you would bring the kids to come and I can just do it with them instead.
Let me call Mom and let her know what's going on, because I think they'd enjoy kayaking, but last time you ask them, we'll let them know, so.
Okay, just let me know.
Alrighty.
Alright, thanks.
I'll let you know what's going on.
Alright, thank you.
Yep.
Alright, bye.
I have to say that her ex-husband is pretty calm, cool, and collected over this call. Because the reality is that she just called her ex-husband because she was rejected. Her solution to that was to reach out to him and emotionally dump and then ask for her kids. I don't think that's okay, and here's my reasoning. It's very similar to the friend zone. The woman gets to emotionally dump, ask for that emotional support. She gets the attention, she gets the niceness. But what does the man get? Does the man get any of his needs or wants or desires of the relationship from her? Nope, and that is what's unfair. Just because you share kids does not mean that you need to emotionally support your ex. But I think that a lot of guys fall into this. And I guess in the early stages, it's somewhat natural that you're trying to figure out the boundaries. That's fine. But women cannot expect men to do this for years because he needs to fill that space with somebody else. He should be putting the efforts towards somebody else. He is not just going to sit in some twisted version of the ex friend zone.
Studies actually show that most women are afraid to speak up about regretting their divorce, as society coddles most men and women to act like divorce is a normal everyday function, which it isn't.
A broke woman who makes no money, struggles to pay her rent and typical basic bills every month, calls men that can't send her to get her nails done a brokey or sassy. Delusion.
I'm crying because my son is leaving. He's going to see his dad. And
An average woman wants a tall, handsome, wealthy, and attractive man. However, she typically fails to work on and improve her inner beauty, her personality, and character. In the end, what is on the inside ultimately manifests on the outside, and 99% of the time, this results in an entitled and ungrateful person who is self-centered and demands that the man grant her every wish for the rest of his life.
When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, we sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? The therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? So he responded right away and he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. Like, I knew that I was ready to leave that day, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy, there was no compassion, there was no like wanting to fight for us, and I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he just kept playing, and he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. So it was like within a couple days, he moved out.
Women tell us what they want, and when we respond, they have a problem with our response. Imagine how controlling a woman has to be to even control the response her man gives after she says she wants a divorce. I can't even imagine the life the guy must have lived with such a woman. Good riddance, I'd say.
When I want something, I get it. We used to live in upstate New York, and now we live in Tennessee, and I realized that I wanted something in New York, so I told my husband that he was going to drive me to New York. So it's currently almost 7 a.m. and I just woke up. I'm feeling pretty good, and he's been driving all through the night, so I didn't have to deal with that. And now we're almost to New York, so I can get what I need, and then tomorrow we'll head back to Tennessee. Isn't he the best?
Now that's just crazy. And imagine how self-centered this woman must be to actually talk like this in front of the guy. Imagine the emotional abuse this man must have had to go through every single day. May he be put out of his misery soon. May he find peace alone, or with someone who doesn't take him for granted. May he step out of the bubble of simping he's currently in. Here's another modern woman already regretting her divorce.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
So here it is. In case you didn't know, and this applies to both men and women, being cheated on is traumatizing as fuck. I was married for 21 years, and cheating was never an issue in our marriage. In fact, that was the least of my worries. I never had to worry about it. I never thought I did. I never had a feeling that I had to worry about it. Never on either side. And then I got divorced, and I come into the dating field, and it is an absolute shit show. And if I had any idea what I was getting myself into, I probably would have stayed married.
Let me guess. You filed for divorce because he was too nice and didn't cause you any drama. Then you got bored. I'll take another guess. She thought everyone in the dating world was having too much fun, and she thought she was missing out. She basically walked away from a stable relationship to join chaos. I'm really beginning to think some of these women might be restarted.
Okay, this says, behind every angry wife, there is a husband who has no idea what mistake he made. I know she meant to be funny, but this is low-key one of the most dangerous places to be in a marriage. If a woman ever actually stops telling you what's wrong, your time is running out. There's always something wrong with us, okay? So if even a day goes by that we're not like, man, I have this weird sore spot like right here. It's not like quite on my nose. It's like kind of under my eye. It doesn't mean that nothing's wrong. It means that she thinks you're the problem and she doesn't count on you to fix it. I've seen a few friends go through divorces, and one common theme leading up to almost all of them is no matter how crazy the problem was, these wives stopped communicating them to the husbands. They gave up. If she stops telling you what's wrong, she has lost faith in you. At least that's what it looks like. So if you're a wife who doesn't want to divorce her husband, I highly recommend telling him when he annoys you, because otherwise, he's not going to figure it out. He's just going to keep whistling and dancing, and you're going to be the only one mad.
If I ask what's wrong and you say nothing, that's the end of it. If something is wrong and you lied to me about it when I ask, that's a you problem, not a me problem. I'm not oblivious. I see that something is bothering you, but I'm trusting the words you said to me. You're an adult. You are telling me that you have it under control. If that's not the case, you have all the tools available to remedy the situation. So act like an adult and participate in solving the problem.
Worse than complaining that they're not getting enough of the man's money. And you're like looking at her like, you dingbat. First of all, nobody wants you out here on the dating market. I hate to break it to you. Like, what? Like, you FOMO'd at 50 and you got kids. Like, don't nobody want you. And then on the other side, it's like, you would have had more money if you stayed with him. Okay? If you file for divorce and you don't get a payout, the only people that are going to be advocating for you and being like, no, you need to take him, sis. Get him for everything. Like, those are some toxic women. Like, probably narcissistic women.
Social conditioning is incredibly harmful and potent. Modern women who fall for it will go to any lengths to protect the beliefs they hold dear. In actuality, they simply combine it with the information they've received from institutions, significant figures, and multinational corporations with little regard for the pleasure of women.
Please, please, my life has been torn upside down. We are a one-income household. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Please don't threaten, and please don't try to call my husband's place of work. You're just gonna get me worse.
Oh.
This is my life. And I never, in a million years, would have thought that this would blow up the way it did.
Well, it did. The community that was supporting this woman's cause, the feminine anger, wanted retribution, wanted revenge on her husband. Please, for the love of God, the earth, everything on it, and possibly your own outcomes, do not post your issues online.
Women are conditioned for instant gratification. They want instant happiness, wealth, fame, luxury, and comfort. They want perfection in men, while they hardly bring anything to the table except perhaps their physical selves.
90% of women do regret for filing up for divorce. Yes, you didn't want to live with this man, but you really deep in your heart were not ready for the divorce and for a breakup. The true reason why this breakup and divorce happened is because you didn't have energy to influence and impact your man. Because deep in our heart, ladies, we want all to change our men to be a better version of themselves. That's all we want. We are wired for that. However, the only way you can influence your man to change is by start working on yourself. Once you change, your man gonna start sooner or later changing and reflecting you. But please know, if you are right now putting all of your effort to change him, it's not gonna go well. He will just resist and you'll have more and more arguments and fights.
You know, it is kind of sad and mostly pathetic that women in their 20s all the way through their 40s still act like children with uncontrollable tantrums. Amazing, isn't? You're considered below them until they're out in the street, realizing no one wants them anymore. The grass is only greener over the septic tank.
What is a time where you felt that you failed that you learned a valuable lesson from?
That's such a hard question. Getting divorced was a big lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come? What happened?
For a long time, you know, like in your 20s and 30s, like getting married was a big goal, and I got married. And then I realized that that's not everything. And what I learned through being married was that knowing who you are, knowing your values, and knowing your non-negotiables is so much more important than anything else. It could be more important than the person that you love. And that was a huge lesson for me.
So do you think you didn't know yourself before getting married?
I think I didn't really know how important my values were to me before I got married.
What is true love like, in your opinion?
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Why did it not work, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I wanted to work so much that I was willing to overlook aspects of him and myself that didn't align with my true values. And that's why it didn't work.
They always regret it, only when it's too late. When marriages end, usually some time has passed since the wedding. In fact, the average length of a marriage prior to divorce is 8 years. Divorce comes at a big cost, with couples spending an average of $7,000 to dissolve their union. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support, so please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.